Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today are the Denver Nuggets the biggest winners of the NBA offseason? What are we talking about? Well, over the last few days, the Denver Nuggets have been making a few different smart and savvy moves to help drastically improve their roster, improve their bench, and really fix a lot of the weaknesses that the Denver Nuggets have been suffering through over the last two seasons since they won their lone NBA title. I'll go ahead and just kind of give you first here a little bit of a summary of what the Denver Nuggets have been doing this offseason, just to kind of basically put into frame what has went out for them and what has came in as far as roster construction this offseason. So far, they lost Russell Westbrook, Dario Saric, Michael Porter Jr., and they got Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, and Tim Hardaway Jr. These are huge additions. Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas obviously were acquired via trade. And then Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr. were their free agent acquisitions. Just to give you a little bit of a idea of how impactful these roster improvements have made Denver look in the title race. This is a Raheem Palmer, who is a huge betting shark, and this is what he tweeted out yesterday. The Nuggets went from 16-1 to win the NBA title to now 8-1 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I did check that today. They are actually plus 850 now, so it's like I guess I don't know what the fraction would be off the top of my head. I'm not going to do math off the top of my head. So it's a little bit worse than 8-1, but now they are, at least from a betting perspective, number 2 behind the Oklahoma City Thunder, the only other teams in the entire NBA for title aspirations that are ahead of them. I think they're 5th on the NBA title, but that's just because the East is so weak. They really don't know what to do with all of the betting odds with the Eastern Conference teams right now. But just to think that last summer we were talking about the Denver Nuggets, and we were talking about, all right, they lose in 7 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. What moves are they going to be making with their roster to help improve their current situation? And they're basically like, we'll lose KCP for nothing, and then we will get Russell Westbrook. That was their offseason moves last year. It was really lackluster. It was really pathetic, even though Russell Westbrook, I think, ultimately in the end came out to be a very productive role player for the Denver Nuggets. The problem was that was their entire bench. They were a 6-man team last year. And now you look at this roster, you have Jamal Murray, you have Christian Brown, you have Cam Johnson that's going to slide into that Michael Porter Jr. role, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, and then for your bench, you got Bruce Brown, you still got Julian Strawther, you still got Peyton Watson, and now you're adding in Tim Hardaway Jr. as well, and you're adding in Jonas Valanciunas. This is a team that, if you're talking about over the course of the regular season, can go 8, 9, maybe even 10 deep. This is absolutely incredible. Just to give you a little bit more of a breakdown on some of the players that they added. Cam Johnson, if you look at his just shooting numbers and scoring numbers, practically identical this last season to Michael Porter Jr. They both averaged 18 points per game. Their field goal percentage was the same. Their 3-point percentage was practically the same, maybe give or take 1 or 2 percentage points. And the difference with Cam Johnson, though, is Michael Porter Jr., even though, I think, was it Nikola Jokic that called him out for, not hustling for rebounds in the playoffs, or, kind of slightly pointed or called him out for that in the playoffs? He actually averages 7 rebounds a game. Cam Johnson, not as big of a rebounder, but Cam Johnson, though, the plus side of having him in your offense, if you're Denver, this is a guy that actually can do more playmaking than Michael Porter Jr. There's always the joke, hey, Michael Porter Jr. and a dude that be giving out a lot of assists. Cam Johnson can actually give you 4, 5, 6 assist type games. He's a guy that can create offense. He's also a guy that can spot up shoot. He's got deep range. It's an absolute home run signing. He's not the best defender per se, but neither was MPJ. So that's an absolute home run signing. You're basically getting Michael Porter Jr., but for half the money. That is the advantage of signing or trading for Cam Johnson. You did have to give up a first-round pick way down in the future, but you got 7-8 years before we have to worry about that pick. So that's no biggie. Bruce Brown obviously was a part of the 2023 title team. The ultimate Swiss Army knife, going to be coming off the bench. This is a guy that can play your backup point guard. He can also be like a way smaller version of Aaron Gordon, kind of play that dunker forward spot. He can be a roller on the pick and roll. And also, in addition to that stuff, he can also be a plus defender. He can be a really good defensive player. I remember him during that title run. He made it his mission in the Lakers series. He's like, oh, I'm going to go make D'Angelo Russell my little bitch. And he did. He did. He shut down D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell was abhorrent in that series. And Bruce Brown, because of stuff like that, that's why Bruce Brown had to leave Denver to go get the bag. So shout out to Bruce Brown. The signing or the trade that I think that people really need to be talking more about Denver, because those are obviously nice additions. They're kind of like replacing Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. You're talking about replacing basically Russell Westbrook for Bruce Brown. The deal that I think really makes Denver one of the biggest winners of the NBA offseason this year, Jonas Valanciunas being your backup center. This is a backup center option that Denver has been desperately searching for the last 5 years. Like, they've been going out with washed DeAndre Jordan. Like, DeAndre Jordan was washed in like 2020, and the Denver Nuggets are throwing him out there trying to get some sort of decent minutes as a backup center. I think people forgot, because I was going through old Denver rosters. There was a time where DeMarcus Cousins was a backup center for the Denver Nuggets. That was a real thing that happened. And the biggest thing about having a legit backup center for Nikola Jokic is that the biggest issue when you're watching the Denver Nuggets, at least in a playoff series or a playoff game, is like, hey, what is going to happen for the 10 minutes that Nikola Jokic has to sit for an entire basketball game? Now, with having a quality backup center in Jonas Valanciunas, you don't really have to worry about, hey, are we going to go on like a 12-2 run against us when Jokic is out? They can at least tread water. They can at least survive those non-Jokic minutes in pivotal playoff games, which is absolutely huge, because we know that Jokic, when he is in the game, is one of the best pluses in NBA history. And then Tim Hardaway Jr., coming off a really good year for the Detroit Pistons. He started like every game for the Pistons this year, I'm pretty sure. There's also the stat that was going around, I don't know if you guys saw this, on just standstill open 3-point shots this past season. Tim Hardaway Jr. shot 62% on open threes. You think he's going to be getting a lot of those with this Denver team and their ball movement and their creativity? Now, if you're going to nitpick some of these moves with Denver, or even just their roster in general, still not that many defensive guys. If you're going through their 10-man rotation, their defensive guys are, I guess you could throw Christian Brown in there. They've been using, I actually think he did a decent job these playoffs of playing defense. Aaron Gordon, obviously, and then Bruce Brown, and then Peyton Watson. Really, the kind of marquee guys on this team are offensive first guys, I think, for the most part. Other than Bruce Brown, everybody that they acquired this offseason is a offensive first player. But Denver's never been a good defensive team. They won a title not being a good defensive team, and they keep winning 50-plus games a year not being a good defensive team. So as long as they can just be above water on that and not be abominable, this is a title contender. It's a title contender. They did it. Shout out to the people running Denver. I know Josh Kroenke was getting a whole lot of crap, and deservedly so, when he said the name that should not be said, when he basically did a Voldemort. And he was like, maybe there's an opportunity sometime, some bad signings and some weird cap space stuff, and maybe we trade Nikola Jokic. And everyone was like, what? Do not utter those words. Do not say Voldemort. Do not say Voldemort. Do not do that, Josh Kroenke. Do not do that. If you're Nikola Jokic, wherever he is, partying or riding a horse in Serbia right now, he has to be absolutely exuberant with these moves that Denver is making. Absolute home runs. They are. And here's the thing, too. Last year, we referenced this earlier, the plan was like, hey, Russell Westbrook and all of these young guys, Um, they'll slide into all these roles and they'll be quality role players. The thing about that, they still can do that. Peyton Watson, I thought, gave pretty decent minutes for Denver last year. I think Julian Strother, was it I can't remember if it was the Clippers series or the OKC series. He had like a really good game off the bench. They still have the opportunity to learn and to grow into these roles. And if they come back as better players too, and they're guys that you're not just kind of in a playoff series crossing your fingers, maybe we can put them out here for 5-minute stretches and it's not a disaster, and they can actually be quality role players. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. And here's the thing too. Nikola Jokic doesn't win the MVP this year, but had the best season of his career, the best statistical season of his career, scored the most points in his career, had the most assists in his career. Now, if you're Denver, Jokic doesn't want to do that. Jokic doesn't want to be averaging 30 points a game. He doesn't want to be averaging a triple-double for an entire season. I think Jokic is fine with just doing like, hey, I'm going to get my 24, 25 points a game. I'll get my 12, 13 rebounds, and maybe I get 7, 8 assists, and we cool. That's how he wants to play. He wants to spread the rock. He wants other people to eat. And the only problem with the Denver Nuggets the last 2 years, no one else on the roster was capable of eating. It was all up to the big boy. And the big boy's got to be really happy. Home run for Denver. I'll leave this with you guys. I'll ask this last question. Leave this in the comments. Is this Nikola Jokic's best team ever? Is this the best team that, at least to this date, that he is going to be playing on? Again, it remains to be seen how everything fits. But I just think on paper, because the other team you would maybe add to that list would be the team that won the title, where it was the Murray, KCP, Porter, Gordon, Jokic, and then the bench was Brown, obviously, Jeff Green, and then rookie Christian Brown. I think this is the best team he's going to be playing on. And the thing is, too, all these guys, if some of this stuff doesn't work, it's going to be a lot easier to get off of these guys. I mean, 2 of them are obviously on 1-year deals, but it's easier to get off Cam Johnson than was MPJ. You do have an extra year with Valanciunas after this year, but if it's I think Jonas Valanciunas is still going to have value even if he doesn't work out as a backup center. So, home run for Denver. Denver fans, you should be celebrating. You should be ecstatic with what your team did. This is how you build around a all-time great player, and they're doing it. So yeah, let me know. Do you think this is Nikola Jokic's best team ever? And yeah, that's going to do it for this episode here today. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch this video, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Those are the best things that you can do to help us out in the algorithm. It costs you absolutely $0. And feel free to check out other videos on the Sports Detective Podcast channel page. There's probably going to be some that you like. Talking NBA, gearing up for college football season, NFL football season coming around the corner. So thank you. We'll talk to you next time.